The Immortal Thor, issue number 16. That's right, folks. We're continuing this book into some very interesting directions. You know, we're kind of going into places I wasn't really expecting. And this isn't really like the time to have this conversation, but this book really reminded me of just stuff we don't see in the movies. Does that make sense? Where like four distinctive characters show up. None of them on their own are like powerhouses. When you put the four of them together, you're kind of just like, there is a formidable foe amongst the ranks. And I'm like, we just don't see that in the movies where like these B-listers, D-listers show up and wreak havoc and are dangerous because they catch a person off guard. It's really cool. I don't know. This book really was interesting to me. I'm like, hey, these are all characters I like to see. Fun. So this book opens up with more narration, and it's talking about, like, when Midgard learned of gods. Who was the first god of Midgard? They've always had, like, dreams and things, but the first god to be built of Midgard. And they say it's the Human Torch, the original Human Torch, the android that was built the first time a character in Marvel Comics existed who was, like, better than man, a man of fire. And we have a man of fire in our ranks today. Because in the present day, we have Dr. Chen Lo, who is the radioactive man. And he is getting off a plane. He is glowing, but he's in a tux, and everyone's, like, scared of him. His driver's like, are you safe to be here? He's like, yeah, I'm fine, trust me. Like, I'm here from the Thunderbolts, I guess. Which we'll get to that in a minute here. And he's like, yeah, I'm good. Trust me. My clearance is clear. He's like, no, but like you're glowing and stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, well, if I stop glowing, everything's going to die. So why don't you grab my things and we'll get on with like our meeting. Like your boss says there's supposed to be four of us. I'd like to meet who the other guys are. So Radioactive Man's in the book. Not Radioactive Man from The Simpsons, just Radioactive Man from Marvel. Fun. We then cut to the Golden Realm because we called like Midgard the Realm of Iron. We go to the Realm of Gold, which is Asgard, where Thor and Sif are standing on the Rainbow Bridge. And he's like, man, look at all this stuff I have. And then I like was a dick to my sibling. Loki had to do those things to me, and how did I repay them? I sent them away. They'll never step foot in this realm again. Crazy. And then the Enchantress hates me, and like, you know, I let things happen to her and her family, and I can't resolve that. Sif asks, like, what are you trying to resolve with Enchantress? I let her son die. I wasn't like a king to help him in his time of need. I let her son die. Which, if you know anything of Strange Academy, Uruk, he died over there in that book. And you're like, yep, that did happen. I guess I could bring him back to life. He's just in Valhalla, right? And Sif's like, you cannot be serious. You can't bring back one guy from Valhalla. That's going to open up a big can of worms, and suddenly everybody's going to want to come back from Valhalla. It's not a good idea. Not a good idea. And it's a shame that happened and you weren't a king, but you were also distracted by a lot of shit going on in the world. So don't like beat yourself up over that. I wish I could have saved my brother Heimdall, but I was distracted with other stuff too, as were you, as was Odin and stuff. Like, these are not things that we can do. This game is forever, Thor. You are going to help Loki again. You are going to have the Enchantress in your life again. People are always going to come by and be a part of our shenanigans. We're Marvel characters. Everything will work out in the end. That's not what she's saying, but that's just what I'm paraphrasing. She's like, yeah, we'll get there. It's fine. You and Amora, you guys have a lot in common. You have a lot of depth to you, I guess. But we'll make it work. She's not going to be mad at you forever. So Thor is now going to return to Midgard just to clear his name because he killed somebody. So he's going to go clear his name. So he flies to Midgard. He lands on the streets of New York. Everyone around him's like, oh, Thor's here. And the police show up. And the police are like, Thor, you're under arrest. Could you please, like, come with us? He's like, yeah, I can come with you. If you shoot me, the bullets are going to bounce off my skin, and I can't drop my weapon because it's going to stay here forever and no one can pick it up. So if I could just carry it and come with you to the station. And then Radioactive Man shows up. He's like, Thor, I think you're resisting arrest. He's like, what are you talking about? The police officers, in a very funny scene, say, because we see that Radioactive Man states that he's, like, here for, like, Thunderbolt's business, they're like, Thunderbolts? Aren't the Thunderbolts like Hawkeye? He's like, no, there's like a new one, right? There's a new one that started up. Can we keep track of the Thunderbolts for 2 goddamn minutes? No, we can't. Apparently we can't. And Radioactive Man shows like his old like Thunderbolts clearance card. They're like, dude, this is expired, man. It's fine. It's fine. I'm still like a Thunderbolt, I guess. It's so stupid. Because I'm like, yeah, who's listening to anything Radioactive Man has to say? Is he a Thunderbolt or not? Who knows? But he's like, all right, let's clear the situation, and I'll stop glowing. Which we know if Radioactive Man stops glowing, he's going to burst and kill everybody. And Thor's like, oh shit, no, you can't stop glowing. And he's like, oh shit, it was a bluff. Thor realized like that was a clever thing that you just did, Shen. So he throws Radioactive Man into the sky with Mjolnir, and we see like Dario is like sitting in his office watching that happen. Thor takes off to go get his hammer and get Radioactive Man, and that's when the police are like, okay, so Thor is a bad guy. Like, that was clearly a Thunderbolt, and Thor is a bad guy. He's gone bad. Like, are you kidding me? This is another conversation we don't really have to have, but if you were somebody living in the Marvel Universe, just a random citizen, and like suddenly a superhero went bad, would you believe it? They've all went bad. Every one of them has gone bad at some point and done something stupid. Would you be convinced just because you don't understand what's being said to you that something bad has happened? Or like Thor, a guy older than time itself practically, is evil? I wouldn't buy it. Be like, he's a god. He's operating on a level higher than I am. I'm just a lonely cop. I don't know. And like, that's not a Thunderbolts card from this era? No way. Thor's like, well, that was a good trick just pulled on me. I guess I'll have to figure out what that's all about. So he goes to an abandoned warehouse, gets into a big fight with Radioactive Man. That is essentially the rest of the book. But it's not, because more characters are going to show up in a minute, because as Chen said at the beginning, there was 3 other people he was working with on this case. Who are they? Well, we meet 2 of them. And this is, again, where I just go, man, it would be so freaking cool just to have a scene like this in the movie, because Mr. Hyde and the Cobra show up. And I'm like, yes, please, yes, look at them. Like, who are these idiots? How can they take on Thor? I guess well, apparently, because he didn't expect it to happen. They show up, Cobra unleashes, like, some toxin to, like, distract Thor, and through the cloud of, like, not being able to see anything, he gets touched by Grey Gargoyle and turns to stone. But you'll notice that his belt is not turning to stone, and that's so cool. How do we not have Grey Gargoyle in a fucking movie? Are you kidding me? Like a guy that turns you to stone? That's cool. That's cool. All of these characters are cool. I like all of these characters a lot. They're really fun. And then, I love it. Radioactive Man's like, hey, that was a good job. You like turning to stone? He's like, no, it's not working. Like, what are you talking about? Like, something's wrong. His belt is not turning to stone. That is a cause for concern. I have a theory that if I let go of him, he's not going to turn to stone. So, like, my solution kind of, like, lasts for, like, an hour, but if I remove my hand from him, I feel like it might be, like, a minute until he becomes normal. So Mr. Hyde's like, okay, so less than a minute? All right, perfect. I'm just going to punch him and shatter him. And that is what happens. Like, oh, that's cool. Like, come on, just breaks a stone Thor. The belt is still there. The special belt we know is very special and cool. I love it. I think this is so much fun. It's so entertaining. It was, like, this is kind of, like, what I think Ewing's been really good at with Marvel recently. Is just, everything matters. Here's a random character showing up for a thing while our hero deals with some shit personally, and then boom, other characters help out. It's really cool. I'm having so much fun. Like, this issue was incredible. Like, yeah, of course, if you got Mr. Hyde, the Cobra, Grey Gargoyle working with Radioactive Man, they could maybe take down Thor. Because he doesn't know what's going on. And they do. I'm like, that's pretty cool. I dig it. I dig it a lot. I'm glad this book is just interesting and classic at the same time. I really appreciate that. So, The Immortal Thor, issue number 16, I am going to give an 8 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good